Hello, and you are listening to The Book Was Better, the podcast where we talk about the book of the film. I'm Luke.
I'm Leah.
And this week we're talking about Batman Returns.
Hey you, put down the popcorn and turn on the light. It's gonna be alright, my friend. In the end, take my hand. Trust me, the book was better.
Holy crap, we got you back.
Well, I've returned.
You have returned, just like the titular Batman.
Titular?
That's a reference to when Joel Schumacher put the nipples on the on the costumes.
I don't remember that at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I seem to remember less and less as the years go by.
Yeah, that was the big controversy about the Schumacher ones, was that...
Oh, on Batman suit. Yes, I do remember that, actually.
He was the titular Batman.
Yeah.
And Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl, she had nipples.
Did she? See, I don't even remember that she was Batgirl. I remember Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've done... we're doing these backwards. We've done Batman and Robin. We've done Batman Forever. Now it's time for Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Yep. Which, do you remember what time this is set in?
What, the film or when it was released?
The film.
Weren't they all set in contemporary time? Weren't they all set in the 90s?
Okay, well, see, that's interesting. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I was actually going for a broader... Christmastime.
Oh, sorry.
Sleigh bells ring.
Of course,
ding-a-ling-a-ling. But I do want to address that. I think that's interesting you say that because I always thought that the production design on those films was very deliberately timeless. Like, the cars are, like, old, almost 40s cars.
Yeah, true.
And you look at that Gothic architecture as well. And
even the costuming as well of the irregular folk.
There's something so 90s with the prints and everyone's wearing berets and, yeah. But that does get addressed in this particular novel, this adaptation. But it is December. This is the very first episode of December. If you're looking confused, it's not December right now as we're recording this.
Look,
but it will be.
We're time travelling. It's okay. I
due to the
understand.
magic. And Batman Returns is technically a Christmas movie. There's a lot of Christmas happening in here.
It always felt Christmassy when I watched that penguin devour raw fish.
Yes. Yeah, it reminded me of a few lonely Christmases of that family.
Like the little matchstick girl, that's what she used to have to resort to. Never quite made the cut, but really, that's what she was doing. The
penguin pressing his grotesque face up against the window, watching Bruce Wayne have Christmas dinner. It's my favourite part. So look, this was written by Craig Shaw Gardner. Now, he is not a new author to the podcast. He wrote The Lost Boys, which we did recently and I quite liked, and Back to the Future 2. He also wrote Batman 89, which is the only one we haven't done of the classic Batmans. And he's got some original fiction as well. Here's some titles for you. Slaves of the Volcano God, Bride of the Slime Monster, and Revenge of the Fluffy Bunnies.
Yeah,
so it's
they
pretty
classy.
Accomplished. Get those on
And he
you.
pumped them out quickly too, 89, 1990, 1990, whilst also producing classics such as Batman Returns.
Well, Batman Returns would be about 19...
Well, it says 92 actually.
92, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in year 11, I remember. I remember getting the... pens from Happy Meals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's interesting. This whole movie was heavily sponsored by McDonald's, and there was a bit of a fallout because of how dark it was. And McDonald's pulled threatened to pull their sponsorship, which is why that third movie is a lot happier and friendlier without Tim Burton. But let's read the beginning. It's got a prologue. So we'll take some turns here.
Shall I start this off?
Yeah, you get us. I've talked too much already.
Gotham City isn't safe anymore. It's crowded, noisy, dirty, filled with garbage. And I'm not just talking styrofoam hamburger holders and discarded needles and deadly chemicals that just happen to fall into the river. I'm talking human scum too. Grifters, drunks, addicts, hookers and dealers and petty thieves. Guys who'll mug you if you step into the wrong street and shoot you if you try to call for help. And sometimes things are so busy and crowded and noisy that you can't tell the scum from the rest of your neighbours.
Gotham City isn't safe anymore. Why can't somebody clean it up? If only it could be like it was yesterday when everybody had bright smiling faces and believed in the American dream and the value of a dollar.
Doctors are very valuable as well.
That's true. And teachers and health workers in general. Back in the 50s, when people knew their place and kept their problems to themselves.
Let's go back to those days. The early 50s, a happier time. Let's go back to the happiest time of all, Christmas time.
Our story opens a few months earlier in a big house on a big street owned by big people who must have big money. And they have more than that to be happy about today, for this man and woman are having a baby. Big one, I guess.
But there's a problem.
Father paces back and forth on a landing large enough to house 3 whole families farther downtown. He nervously puffs on a cigarette. In the other room, we hear the mother's labour pains. The baby's almost here.
Then the moans stop. There's nothing but silence. A moment passes and a new voice cries out. But there's something about that voice. Something about those goos and gagas that isn't right.
It's Batman. It's not Batman. It should be Batman. It's going to be a while before we hear from Batman in this. Got to say as well, this is the absolute quickest hamburger reference in Book Was Better History. We always mention when the hamburgers turn up.
Yeah.
Most American films and books thereof largely sort of orbit around hamburger eating.
Yeah.
Sentence number 3.
Early.
And
Got in quick. Well, it was sponsored by McDonald's.
And it's a Batman story.
Although I don't know that they would have liked the styrofoam mention. Were they still putting stuff in styrofoam then?
Back in the 90s?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
In America, they probably were. They didn't have normal rules. Interesting, yeah. So the book dates the flashback at the beginning to the 50s, as if to suggest that the film happens in the actual 90s. And if it does, surely that's a weird alternate dimension 90s. It's hard to believe that Bruce Wayne is watching like Saved by the Bell and Studs and,
Reading Babysitter's Club.
Alfred's setting the video for Friends.
Yeah, Friends wasn't around in the early 90s, I don't think.
Not
You're
quite
time
this
traveling
early.
again. Nah.
It was only a couple of years
No,
later.
he would have been recording Who's the Boss.
Who's the Boss? Yeah.
Judith Light.
You'd imagine like they would quote those things to each other occasionally.
That's right. Well, that's what Bruce Wayne would say. Who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
Alfred, not you.
Oh, Master Bruce.
That's exactly.
Who's the boss again? Bruce. Oh, Alfred, you're such an Angela. Look, so what is up with this baby and how does this all tie into Christmas? Take it away, Mr. Gardner, and explain.
But I promised you Christmas, and Christmas it will be. So we skip forward a few months. The house is all done up for the holidays, so no expense spared, with lights and tinsel and a fine, big, decorated tree. The radio is on, brightly playing the music of the season as father and mother share a little seasonal cheer. And baby is there too, in that playpen. Well, maybe it looks less like a playpen and more like a cage, but baby mustn't get into mischief. Baby looks out at the bright lights as the radio plays. He knows when you are sleeping. What is that in front of the cage? That nasty family cat is slinking by, but not fast enough for baby. He knows when you're awake. One good grab and the cat is gone. A single feline scream and the cat will never bother baby again.
A cat eaten by a baby is how this Batman
gruesome.
Film opens. Do you remember who plays the father in this?
No memory.
It's Pee Wee Herman.
No.
Yeah.
Is it really?
He's the penguin's father.
Wow.
Because Tim Burton directed Pee Wee's Big Adventure back in the day. It was one of his early films.
Oh, was
so
it?
those two are really tight.
Okay, didn't know that at all. There you go. Does he play it straight or does he play it as wacky Pee Wee? Well, not that wacky,
I don't
but
think
a
he's
little
got
bit
any
wacky.
lines. It's all like a montage,
okay.
pretty much, with like the music over. This is all the pre-credits. Because the credits happen while this next bit's happening. Which is obviously, there are serious issues with this baby. So much that the parents, they throw it over a bridge in a basket and it floats into the sewers. And that's when we hear the theme and we have all the credits come up on the screen as this basket floats through.
Very biblical.
Yes.
Time for Christmas.
The carriage washes up on that icy shore and the baby hears a noise and realises he isn't alone. For out of the darkness stride 4 of the most regal birds you have ever seen, 4 emperor penguins to stand guard around their newfound treasure. So yes, it is just like Moses, but with sewers and penguins.
So What are penguins doing in Gotham City?
No, he goes. It's the he ends up in the zoo. It's the penguin. It's like the ice enclosure in the zoo.
Okay.
But it does really like throw you at first.
Yeah, no, look, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Penguins got a shit too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's all hooked up. A most heartwarming story, don't you think? But it happened very long ago. Now the baby is all grown up. Gotham City isn't safe anymore. Pain and death wait for far too many on the city streets. Trust me, I'm the kind of bird that can make it happen. So, that's the elephant in the room. The penguin in the room is this weird writing style.
Yeah.
The penguin wrote this book.
That's it.
These are his memoirs.
Yes.
Don't you think it would have taken him a really long time to type this with those crazy flipper hands?
I think he used his beak.
Maybe.
Or the long nose.
The
nose instead.
Have you... I don't think you have. You haven't seen American Horror Story, right?
No.
Because they've got a guy with flipper hands there who has a talent of pleasuring women with his flipper hands.
Yeah.
And both...
you want that near you.
Yeah. Both that and this, I feel, are very inspired by Catherine Dunn's book, Geek Love, which is about circus geeks in the 40s or something that bite heads off chickens in pits.
Yeah.
And the sort of villain of that thing is their flippered boy called Artie, who is this real menacing character. And I feel like Burton draws on that a lot. And it's Burton's favourite book. He's always wanted to do an adaptation.
Okay.
It also has a two-headed woman in it, which... there's a two-headed woman in American Horror Story, and there was a two-headed woman in Big Fish, which was Tim Burton's.
What, does Tim Burton do American Horror Story?
No.
Oh,
but I'm just saying both of them are really inspired by that book, I feel. Let's just look. Occasionally I've got to drop a little bit of literature knowledge amongst the
this is a
dumb jokes that I make.
Highbrow podcast.
Well, I get criticised for not being highbrow. Since Jess left. Jess was highbrow. She got a doctorate in
she brought
literature.
Up the standard. So I think you're right. So the penguin was then born in the 50s.
Yes.
Does that mean that Batman was born in the 50s? Oh, no, I guess he could come later. No,
I think Batman's
the timeline doesn't have to be the same. Yeah, he can be younger. That's all right.
It was a crazy year where everybody became a penguin, but you had to choose what animal you were going to associate with.
Or cat.
A cat.
Although cats weren't having too great of a time at it in the early days.
No. So back to modern day, Craig Shaw Gardner thankfully pushes the Christmas theme super hard. I thought I was going to have to, but he does it himself. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing Christmassy things out on the streets. There's going to be a tree lighting ceremony later. And either the penguin is still writing this or Craig Shaw Gardner is getting a little bit creepy.
Uh-oh. Here's that snow bunny, that very well-endowed young lady, dressed sort of like an elf, except she has a tiara and a banner that reads, Ice Princess. What a babe. She smiles a truly dazzling smile as she talks into her microphone.
That's how you know it's the 90s.
Microphone?
Babe.
Oh, Babe. Oh, no, Babe's very, very big now.
You reckon?
Oh, yeah. Like, if you'd been watching Transparent, that's one of our jokes, is that the Tammy character is always going, hey, Babe. So you're missing...
I thought it was Bay now.
Yeah, there's also the Bay, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't appreciate, the missing B. No. I refuse to acknowledge it.
It's a good B.
It sounds like a silly word to me.
Put it in there.
Damn kids.
I always think Wayne's World with Babe.
Oh, really?
And that was around this time, 92. It was 92 as well, I think.
I don't feel like Babe's ever gone out of fashion. I feel like
you're using it in a different context, though. Like, hey, babe.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. To like, she's a total babe. Yeah. True. Yeah.
Then we... actually, no, I wanted to ask, what did you think of Alfred here? And this relationship.
In the book?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Is it... Alfred's not the one who's talking about the Ice Princess Babe, though, is it?
No, that's the penguin.
No.
He's watching Alfred. Alfred's, like, fussing around on the street.
Yeah,
He's buying a Christmas goose. What, turkey? Not good enough for Bruce Wayne?
No.
And he's complaining the newspaper is piffle.
Oh, that's right.
I thought he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, he's a bit stuck up with the little newspaper boy. Now, who plays Alfred in these ones?
Michael Gough.
Okay, I've got no knowledge of who that is, but...
Very old, frail-looking man.
Yeah.
White hair.
Look, certainly reading it, I didn't feel like he was a likeable character at all, actually. And as you know, as I said to you before, reading it made it feel really strange. This idea that Bruce Wayne, from the age of 10 or whatever it was, has been in this massive house with this very cold man all his life as the sole person there keeping Christmas happy. It's very odd.
He, I think in like modern Batman now, they often make him like an ex-SAS kind of guy that had some sort of service and is a bit more like a badass. But in this, he's just a Master Bruce kind of old bugger. We meet Max Schreck, who's like a businessman and department store owner. He's played by the wonderful Christopher Walken. And Max Schreck, of course, is the name of the actor who played Nosferatu in the original silent film. And this Christopher Walken character, he's trying to convince the mayor that Gotham needs a power plant.
He turned and frowned critically at the mayor. Do you like the sound of brownouts? Do you?
I've thought about this, and I don't like the sound of brownouts.
I've never even heard the word brownouts. I had to read that several times.
Yeah, it's a brownout.
Are we talking about the same thing here? Is this another whatever fanny bag business?
I know,
where
it sounds really suspect.
Don't get it.
I've eaten so much Taco Bell and I'm going to have a brownout.
No, too many corn dogs.
Well, speaking of which, Selena Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer, the best thing in this film is Max, which is Christopher Walken's bumbling secretary.
Selena put down a tray bearing a silver coffee pot and a couple of fine china cups. She mentioned somewhat hesitantly, I had a suggestion. Well, actually, more of a question. Max's gaze locked upon her, silencing her instantly. He had to be nice to the mayor. Being nice to Selena was something else altogether. What did she think she was doing? Butting in? Didn't she know a secretary's place? I'm afraid we haven't properly housebroken Miss Kyle, he apologised to the mayor. He smiled as he waved at the tray. In the plus column, though, she brews one hell of a cup of coffee. This is what you were saying to, other people in the library when I first started working there, wasn't it? It's like, Leah's not quite housebroken yet, but she makes a mean cup of coffee.
Well, considering my role, that's probably what people say about me. Secretary's place.
Yeah, it's one of those things of, I don't know, I think this book in comparison to the other ones that I've read, maybe I was a little bit more sympathetic to the other ones, but I've thought, wow, they just spell everything out, don't they? Don't make you have to guess or think of anything for yourself. It's all just there.
But don't you think that Batman in general is like that? Like, there's nothing... I think Batman people tend to like and think is a little more adult at times because it has themes. But the themes are battered over you so much. Even in Nolan, like... That Batman Begins, the amount of times that the fear comes up and conquering fear and dealing with fear, that's the theme. And for Selena Kyle here, it's that idea of being everybody's doormat and being timid and having low status. Yeah. So everybody has to just shout that from the rooftops, including herself. Like, it's just so unsubtle. Because if it was, if her gimmick was riddles... She'd have said 3 riddles in this scene.
Oh, yeah, true.
You know what I mean? But instead, her gimmick is that she's not yet empowered. Because this thing mentions, like, goodwill to women, equality of the sexes. These things keep coming up all through this film as though it's trying to make some kind of statement about it. But it's really, like, sledgehammer stuff. And she calls herself a corn dog, which made me cringe in the film, but she does it, like, 4 times in this chapter alone.
Yeah, it's really strange. It just seemed like a really strange, I don't know,
doesn't come
derogatory term to call yourself. It just sounds so stupid.
Doesn't come like it sounds like it comes from the character. It sounds like it comes from Craig Shaw Gardner, a middle-aged man who's, writing this thing.
Well, has anyone ever put themselves down by calling themselves a corn dog?
They will now.
I can open that out to the listeners. Have they ever heard that before?
I got a quick question, though, and seriously. Is Batman in this book?
No.
Just curious, because we're about 20 minutes in and we haven't found him yet. Selena looked at the Post-it notes tacked onto her computer, reminders that would help her fit in, help her to get ahead in the competitive world of Shrek Industries. Don't get jokes, said one. Max didn't like it when she got too clever. She also writes herself a new note which says obey. So yeah, nothing subtle here. I also felt like novelizations have that unfortunate effect of really demystifying films. Like, Burton is all about visuals, and I feel like he enjoys visuals for the sake of visuals. Yeah. And he has the penguin slide a giant gift into the square, which is great. Like, that's great fun. Burton doesn't give a shit how it got there, why it got there, or whatever. He just wants that visual. Yes. And it's a cool visual. No reason to overthink it. Commissioner Gordon, however, really overthinks it.
Gordon turned his attention back to this huge box that was rolling into the square. It was designed like one of those floats in the Christmas parade. Looking at the bottom of the box, he could make out wheels at each of the corners propelling the float along. Not truck wheels, though. They were too thin and closely spaced for that. Gordon would guess that the float was being moved by 4 motorcycles. And in between the cycles, the Commissioner could see walking feet. He wondered if there was going to be a second part to this presentation. Oh, I wonder what's in the box.
Way to spoil the surprise.
I know.
He's like the kind of guy that would stand up in a magic show and yell out like how it's done.
Now, I read this book yesterday and I have no memory of this passage. I think I just glossed over like, oh yeah, all right, he's describing something. Whatever, let's get to where the action starts.
Well,
Selena saying corn dog.
Yes, which he does 2 more times. Batman Returns, brought to you by corn dogs.
And McDonald's.
I sure hope he does return soon, though. And I wondered where he's been. Like, it never answers the question of the title. It says Batman Returns.
True.
And he's returning to a cinema near you.
Yeah.
But where is he returning from? Like, has he gone on an extended, like, vacation or something? And then I thought about that, and I thought, with Batman, they say that Bruce Wayne is the mask, and that Batman is the real person.
Yeah.
So when he wants to relax and be himself, like when he's on a beach, wouldn't he be dressed as Batman because that's the real him? Like, why would he wear his mask on holiday? Like his figurative mask.
Yeah.
So I reckon he'd wear his literal mask. Which means I keep waiting for him to turn up with a suitcase and with, like, tan lines in the shape of his cowl. Like, he's all lily white except for his brown eyes and his brown chin. Didn't happen, though. Okay, action you wanted, here we go. The attack begins. The giant package burst open. 3 men on motorcycles roared out right into the crowd. People tried to run, screaming, frantic to get away from the growling engines. A 4th cycle ripped out of the side of the box, jumped the railing above the plaza, and landed in the middle of the crowd gathered for the tree lighting. Again, would have been a great surprise if Gordon hadn't already spoiled it.
Yeah, or if you just skimmed over it. It was a good surprise.
And the box still has more surprises, though, let's be fair.
The top opened. 5 acrobats sprang out, cartwheeling into the panic crowd to knock down anyone still left standing. One of them
knocked out.
Yep, a mounted patrolman. Another flipped beyond the nearby onlookers, straight towards a mobile soup kitchen Shrek had set up for the homeless. The kitchen volunteers barely escaped as the acrobats' fists and feet smashed everything in sight.
Oh, when acrobats attack, that's something I'm very paranoid about.
For a second there, I was like, hold on a minute, is this the Joker again? Like, why have we gone with clowns and whatnot?
Yeah,
like, that's
it's a circus
Joker
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a penguin.
That's right. Surely you should have had... Oh, no, that comes later, doesn't it? The penguins with
the missiles.
Weapons.
Yeah, but they should have been at least dressed like birds or even various birds.
Yeah, I know. He's such a copycat.
If you wanted someone on stilts, like a flamingo guy...
It's like, look, he was thinking the Joker, he caused a lot of attention before, I know.
What about people dressed as fish?
Oh, now you're thinking hit them with the flippers.
Yes, but here is Bruce Wayne, finally, sitting at home alone. Bruce didn't like going out in crowds much at night. It reminded him too much of another winter night when he was only a boy. His parents had taken him into downtown Gotham City earlier on that day, and they had all stayed until long after dark. They had had a wonderful time that day, going shopping, having dinner, going to a show. Bruce could never remember having such a good time with his parents. It was a day filled with nothing but laughter. And then... Bruce closed his eyes, but he could still see the gunman who stepped out of the shadows to rob his parents. He could still see his father put up a fight, see his mother's mouth open as she cried for help, and he saw the double flash of the gun as 2 bullets killed both father and mother. Revisiting the origin for the billionth time.
Yeah.
I know he had a bad time of it. I don't want to downplay this horrible thing. But,
Yeah.
at what point do you get over it and move on?
I almost picture getting all meta language or whatever it is. Like Batman almost kind of standing in a corner and going, here we go again. They're going to play out the old mythology. All right. Let's hear the sob story so then I can get on with some real action. Because they always have to do that first before we can get on with it.
The Gotham TV show even does it. And it has the image from the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns, which people love doing with the pearl from the necklace, falling to the ground. And I just think, if he got $1 for every time someone uses that image,
he'd be even richer than he already is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he is so rich.
For that deal.
Yeah, every $1.
I have a feeling he spent it all on cocaine. Allegedly. I don't know. An organ grinder with a big red organ box and handlebar moustaches was the first one on the stage, and he had the usual monkey, except that this monkey had a gun. This is where it hooked me, because I don't know if you know this, but ever since the Jumanji podcast, the one thing I love in a book is a crazy monkey going apeshit. Okay. In Jumanji, they got on police cars and stuff, and they ran around and they threw plates. It was so funny, Leo. It was just awesome. But then, finally, holy shit.
The Batmobile had arrived. Blades shot out from either side of the Batmobile, smashing through 2 different stilts in an instant. A pair of stilt walkers fell to the ground face first.
Yeah, Batman starts
nasty
murdering / crippling people, and he runs over clowns. He hits a clown, and then he goes back to hit it again.
Really?
Yeah. One clown managed to jump free, but the other 2 bounced smartly off the hood. He'd come back for the third in a moment, and...
Batman floored the accelerator. The fire breather was caught in the exhaust. Batman checked the scene in his rearview mirror. This time, the fire breather went up in flame. All lit up, Batman thought, like a Christmas tree. Now, what was that last clown up to? Maybe Batman could give him a hot time too.
Yeah,
hey.
For a hot time called Batman.
Yeah, this is almost like, that 1960s or whatever Batman show.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, like a Christmas tree.
It's very tonally all over the place. I feel Batman's very cavalier about burning people to death, especially clowns.
Look, no one likes a clown. I support his clown-aside.
I guess that whole Joker thing really had a lasting effect on him.
Yeah.
And what does Selena, meanwhile, what do you think she cares about?
Somehow, Selena doubted he wanted to start a conversation. She heard something crack as the clown dragged her in front of him. Somehow, she managed to look down and saw that her brand new heel had snapped off her brand new fashion pump. That was it, Selena thought. Those heels cost her money. Now she was mad.
I feel like this is classic male novelization of writing women, where he's sitting there going,
it's wonderful, yeah.
What are women invested in? Ponies, butterflies, shoes. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That'll get her mad.
She probably does do a chipped a nail or something, a broken nail at some point in this as well, because she's wearing those fingernail claws later. Couldn't you have just been a prince, she continued, and broken my jaw? My body will heal, but that was the last pair left in my size.
Yeah, that was pretty disturbing.
I don't think that's in the film.
I had to read that a few times and think, why are we associating a prince with broken jaw? I know it's being a little bit sarcastic there, but still.
Didn't we have enough prints in Batman 89 as well? With the bat dance?
Yes.
And all the, hey ducky, let me stick the 7-inch in the computer. And it ain't nothing but a muffin, but we got a lot of butter to go.
Oh my lord.
I know.
I see you remembered that very well.
Oh, fuck, bat dance. I know all of bat dance. If it breaks when it bends, you better not put it in. He was supposed to write a song about Batman. He had one job. Wrote about his dick.
He was Prince.
So after all this stalling, I would think that the Batman reveal would at least be impressive, Craig Shaw Gardner would really hit us with this. The Batmobile screeched to a halt in front of them, the door flew open, and a man dressed all in black leapt out and headed straight for them. It was Batman.
It was Batman.
Hey guys, it's me, it's Batman. How's it going?
Yeah, hey babe.
I'm Batman. Don't get too excited though, a page later, and Batman is gone. Even Selena comments on it.
That was it, her big meeting with Batman. Not that she could blame him. It was no wonder he didn't want to wait around with her terrible attempts at conversation, because that's what you'd be thinking about, isn't it? Murderous clowns, people going up in flames. Meanwhile, she's worried about a broken heel, and damn it, if she'd only been a little bit smarter, Batman would have liked her damn corn dog.
He had such nice eyes. And she goes home to a pink dollhouse and stuffed animal strewn house, only to realise that she forgot a file and has to go back into work. The file, she murmured, you stupid corn dog, deep fried corn dog. Deep fried corn dog's only $2.99 in the lobby. Let's go.
Okay, is corn dog an actual food product?
Yeah. It's like a...
Chico roll?
No, it's like a battered sausage on a stick.
Okay, all right. Sounds a bit Scottish.
Deep fried, yeah. Max Schreck, Christopher Walken, gets abducted into the sewers where we get an equally unclimactic penguin reveal.
It got worse. The bird closed the umbrella. It wasn't a penguin. It was the penguin.
It wasn't a rock. It was a rock lobster. I do love Danny DeVito's line here, though. There are the occasional good lines in this where he goes, I believe the word you're looking for is the penguin paused to take a breath. No! Max still didn't get anything out. He wasn't sure if he'd be able to get anything out ever again. His wallet, his keys, his penis, his groceries from the back of the car. Totally stunted.
His hard drive bag. Max almost flinched. There wasn't a pile of umbrellas at the penguin's feet. It was a whole arsenal.
So the stakes,
oh my
the stakes are very high.
Umbrellas.
Yes, look out, Gotham. There are umbrellas under your streets.
See, I don't even understand why he was frightened of the umbrellas at this point. Like, they hadn't been shooting with umbrellas yet, had they?
Or Danny DeVito, for that matter. Like, the guy's in his underwear. His soiled underwear in the sewer surrounded by fairy penguins. Like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you're worried about the umbrellas and not this freak show that's in front of you.
I wouldn't be worried about any of it. You could have just kicked him in the gut and climbed back out. Plus, like, Max Schreck is a shifty dude. I'm sure he's packing. Penguin would have been like, oh, let me tell you about it. And he would have just shot him in the face.
Yeah. It'd be like Austin Powers, you know, just give me a gun, I'll just bam, right now.
No one would have missed him.
You just don't get it.
Don't embarrass yourself, Max, the penguin interrupted. I know all about you. What you hide, I discover. What you put in your toilet, I put on my mantle. He smiled and patted his rotund belly. Get the picture? He had what Max put in his toilet. Max supposed that was one advantage of living in the sewers, but just how literally was he supposed to take this guy?
Yeah, and with a pat of the belly, it kind of suggested he didn't just put it in his mantle, but put it inside.
Yeah. It's pretty gross. So yes, Penguin has shit, maybe literally yes. to blackmail Max. So Max has to agree to help orchestrate the Penguin's welcome home party, which I guess means, paint banners, buy some potato chips. But no, turns out the real plan is much stupider. Batman watches this on TV.
It's not stupid. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant plan.
Well, let's hear this brilliant plan.
The TV showed the abduction of the mayor's baby and the supposed miracle of his rescue by the Penguin, who rose out of the sewer on top of the strangest of vehicles, a contraption that looked like nothing so much as a large rubber duck.
So,
look, what ends up in the sewers, it's all he's got to work with, you know, all those little rubber duckies just manifest themselves into one large one.
People flush them down the toilet because they stop being cute and then they grow to abnormal sizes. See, people give the Schumacher one shit as being like, you know, camp, 60s Batman, but this is so camp.
Yeah, but it did have that darkness to it, I think. I think that's all I remember. Again, all I remember is the penguin eating the raw fish.
Yeah.
That's really stayed with me.
Oh, it's going to get darker.
And how dirty he was. Ugh.
The penguin, now out in the open, hits the public records in order to find his parents. And notice that even the mention of that on TV gets Bruce all misty-eyed.
Oh, look, it's me choked up too.
Cries.
Bruce, don't worry.
Cries. Bruce starts his own research on his bat computer. And I like this. Like, his bat computer, you realise, can do nothing that you or I can't do just with Google now.
Yes.
I think
not so special, is it, Bruce?
Yeah, I've said this before. Like, it's got to be a shitty time for the Riddler. Like, I don't know how they can do the Riddler thing. Can you imagine, like, Batman wakes up and he's got this little green envelope and it says, Batman, when is a door not a door? And he's like, oh,
right,
fuck.
let's Google this.
No, he doesn't even do that. He goes onto a forum, which is all these nerds that love Batman.
Yeah,
He goes,
yeah.
hey guys, I got an envelope from the Riddler. When is a door, not a door? What are your thoughts? And then he goes and makes coffee, and he comes back, and the guy's like, when it's a jar! And he's like, oh, Robin's got himself caught in a giant fucking jar. Great. You know what? If he's stupid enough to get caught, no, I'm going back to bed. Going back to bat bed. So yeah, he doesn't even have to do it himself. So Selena opens some password-protected files at the office and realizes that Max's plant is actually going to suck power out of Gotham. So Max pushes her through the window. Now, how will Max explain this cold-blooded murder to his beefy son, Chip?
So Chip nodded sympathetically. She jumped, he corrected his father. She's been depressed. Max stared at his son for an instant before he realised what was going on. Yes, he agreed heartily. That was it exactly. Boyfriend trouble, he suggested. Chip shook his head. PMS, he stated decisively. He turned and walked out of the room.
Look at all those women falling out of skyscrapers. Must be that time of month again.
You gotta watch out for that.
That's when you need a special umbrella.
Yeah, that's right. Impale them on it.
And apparently, this is all it takes to forge a supervillain. But it was far more than one cat. From all the meows and purrs that surrounded her, she must be in the middle of an army of cats, as if the whole feline population of Gotham City had come to her rescue. That was awfully nice of them. She'd always liked cats. Now, if they would only calm down so she could get some sleep. But the cats wouldn't leave her alone. Miss Kitty climbed upon her chest and breathed into her mouth.
Can you imagine the cat?
Siamese purred meaningfully into her ear. Other cats rubbed against her legs and feet, and old Tom bit her finger. Her eyes flew open, and she understood. She was Selena Kyle no more. She was reborn!
Yes!
Into what we don't know yet, but she does go home and spray the walls black. She stabs her stuffed animals, and...
Now there was one final task. With a bare hand, she tore out the cheerful neon sign, removing those two most crucial letters, so that what once read "Hello there" was transformed to something much more appropriate. Hell here. I remember that from the film quite well, actually.
Nothing
and I liked
subtle.
it.
It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. No, like I like that change. The fact, pointing out removing those most crucial letters. Are they crucial? Really? Which ones?
OT,
Yeah.
the most crucial letters.
That's it.
Of all.
Here. Yeah.
That's a great visual, though. Because she's all in long shot when you see the suit for the first time, and it's the room's dark and those letters are flashing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I even like her with the cats, actually. I remember that as well.
Yeah, it's just really unexplained, but that's kind of cool too. She returns to work then, as though nothing happened. This is how she talks now that she's really empowered.
Their eyes had met for an instant the other day. She looked nice then. Their eyes met again. She looked even nicer now. Bruce smiled back. Selena? Max looked as if he'd seen a ghost. Selena? He sounded like an old record stuck in a single groove. That's my name, Maximilians, the woman replied with the slightest of smiles. Don't wear it out, babe, or I'll have to make you buy me a new one.
Yeah.
Ta-ta!
She got a sass
Bam, bam.
mouth from those cats.
Yeah.
Now this, I'm pretty sure, definitely is not in the film. The woman who was once Selena had taken off her bandage and slowly, methodically was squeezing blood from her finger into the percolating coffee. So Max, want some more of my blood? She looked up and saw Bruce Wayne watching her. She tried to smile. Pouring myself into my work, she explained. Bruce smiled back. I didn't catch your last name. Just like that, as if he saw people dripping blood into coffee every day. What?
This was weird as, I know.
Yeah.
And he actually is not perturbed by this at all, at no point.
And this was the early 90s.
He still wants to go on a date with her. Maybe even more so.
After all play and no work made a dull penguin. How about all bullshit and no substance makes a dull book?
Now, why have we got to a penguin now? Have we missed something out?
I just like that line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
we go back and forth a little
We
bit.
were just bleeding into a coffee
cup, yeah.
and now it's a penguin.
Yeah, penguin, that's him going through the records. And then now on the prowl, Catwoman scratches up a mugger. She says, be gentle, it's my first.
Yes. I remember that line also from the film, actually.
Although Craig Shaw Gardner doesn't feel it necessary to describe her new appearance at all. He doesn't describe the outfit or the ears or the white stitching or anything like that. He's just like, fucking look at the poster. What am I? Do I have to do everything?
Well, he explains everything else.
And then Max leads the Penguin downstairs from his new apartment in the city and tries to make him run for mayor for some reason.
No, because it's, remember what's his name? The mayor says, hey, you can try to kick me out, but you don't have a candidate.
So
there is actually some logic here.
In order to get the power plant happening.
That's it.
And all these lackeys surround him.
I'm Jen, she announced as she grabbed his sleeve. Stand still for a second while I slip on these little glove thingies. Glove thingies? The Penguin glanced over at her handiwork. She was rather attractive under that suit, and he would certainly like to get under that suit. Her smile turned to a grimace as she touched his flippers. It was the Penguin guest, just that special way he had with women. Our research tells us that voters like fingers, Jen explained as she slipped on the deep black material. The Penguin frowned at his new gloves. Still, if women like fingers rather than flippers...
And then this is followed by, you're right, Max admitted when they could not be overheard. We missed the regularly scheduled election, but elected officials can be recalled, impeached, given the boot. Think of Nixon, Meacham, Barry. He paused and pointed to the great banner overhead. Then think of you, Oswald Cobblepot, filling the void. But Oswald Cobblepot was still watching Jen. I'd like to fill her void, he murmured. I remember there was a point when I began to realise all this stuff that was going on in this film.
Yeah.
And this is the one that made me, like, turn on subtitles and double check it when I was like, Christopher Walken didn't just say that in this Batman film, did he?
Max nodded, arms still opened wide. Imagine, he closed one fist. As mayor, you'll have the year of the media. He closed the other fist. Access to captains of industry. He opened both hands and cupped them before him.
Unlimited poontang.
Poontang!
I can't believe there's not, in our modern, ironic, nostalgic world, a t-shirt with Christopher Walken that says Unlimited Poontang.
Maybe you could make one.
Yeah. Send your orders. The first book was Better Shirt.
Yeah.
Halfway through the book, Batman finally shows up again. This is only his second time in the whole thing. He's had about 3 minutes of screen time in this first hour of the movie. He beats up and kills more clowns. This seems to be the only thing that will entice him out of the cave. It's like normal crime? No, I'm not getting out of bed for that.
Nah.
Costumed crime? I'm there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Catwoman wrecks the department store, and this story hasn't aged at all. Listen to this.
She quickly flipped through the tapes, discarding anything that had to do with Frosty the Snowman or Little Drummer Boys. This was more like it. Some cool jazz, just a sort of dance music for a cat on the prowl.
That's pretty cool. And meanwhile, Batman murders a strongman. He stopped laughing when he saw that Batman hadn't used his hands to punch so much as to attach a bomb to the strongman's leopard skin. Before the tattooed strongman could react, Batman finally gave him a firm push down a nearby open manhole. A manhole. This is Gotham! Amazing the way there were always open manholes around the Penguin's thugs. The strongman's falling scream was cut short by an explosion. Smoke rose from the manhole as Batman turned away.
See, there's a few lines in there that make you sometimes question whether who's the author again?
Craig Shaw Gardner.
Yeah, whether he's just not having a little dig. Like, amazing the way there was always open manholes around the Penguin's thugs.
That happens a lot, like those passive-aggressive sort of things in novelizations. Yeah. Yeah.
What were his own novels called again? The Slaves of Volcanoes or something? Well, I'll show you.
All the open manholes in Slaves of Volcano Slaves were justified.
Well, maybe if he had more, then it would have been a more successful novel. If there was more obvious manholes to fill.
Obvious man. Yeah. It sounds like a video series, Obvious Manholes.
Sounds like a t-shirt.
Batman meets the Penguin briefly. They both meet Catwoman briefly. Then Batman chases her onto a rooftop and they beat the living shit out of each other.
She kicked him in the face. Batman staggered back with the blow, but recovered quickly, slamming her in the chin with one well-aimed blow. She fell backwards into a whimpering ball. How could you? She moaned from where she huddled on the rooftop. I'm a woman. What did she mean? Had he hit her too hard? He was so used to fighting men.
You're going to have to get used to this whole fighting women business.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to have to practice. That's a crazy line, but it's delivered so awesomely in the film. I remember her face just perfectly when she does the "I'm a woman" thing. Yeah, and of course it's a fake out.
Yeah.
She stabs him. But so much deep philosophy here, though. I mean, as much fun as I've made of some of the dialogue, listen to this. The world tells boys to conquer the world and girls to wear clean panties, she explained. A man dressed as a bat is a he-man, but a woman dressed as a cat is a she-devil. She ran her claws lightly over the whip that kept Batman tied to the floor. I'm just living down to explanations. Life's a bitch, and now so am I.
Yeah, that's good.
Just like real people, how they talk.
Now, the word panties, absolutely hate. What's your feeling on the word panties?
Oh, I said this in a podcast a couple of...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I had to read it out. I detest it.
Yes.
I don't even like saying it.
No, it feels so wrong.
Yeah, it's awful.
We had this conversation once, years ago, with actually an American who lives in Perth. And she hates it as well.
Yeah.
Really, really hates it, although it's very common, I think, in America to say it.
Yeah.
Not here. But she herself, as American, hates it.
And I hate hearing men say it.
Yeah.
And
Sounds gross.
Yeah, and it always makes you cringe to the point where I kind of like I have no word that I like, so I kind of go no, underwears, your underwears, the old underwears. Look, and speaking of the B word, and I thought this was totally out of character. Batman gets scratched, Catwoman gets chemical burned, and back in the cave.
Bitch, Batman muttered as he examined the wound. A set of 4 small punctures across his lower stomach. They felt much worse than they looked. Still, it was only when he had reached the safety of the Batcave that he could sufficiently examine them.
Really, Batman?
Yeah.
Batman like a hungry bitch.
That definitely sounds out of character.
Alfred would spit out his tea. And here we go.
That's not how I raised you, Master Wayne.
Her desk was so much cozier now. She had gotten rid of those old wimpy notes that Selena had written to herself and posted all over a computer and replaced them with much more appropriate reminders. Defy authority, take no prisoners, expose the horror. Yeah, she liked these much better.
So does this mean that Max has just kept her on staff?
Yeah.
He's killed her. She shows up dripping blood into his coffee.
Yeah.
Threatens him, but it's like, oh yeah, okay, you keep working here.
It'd be pretty terrifying though, wouldn't it?
I don't know, he's pretty scary.
If you think that, like, I'm being preoccupied with some of this, like, gender stuff, I feel like the book is, like, 5% Batman and 95%, like, just all this Catwoman, like, Battle of the Sexes stuff. A very shapely young volunteer stood in his path. Mr. Cobblepot, she squealed as she looked adoringly down at him. You're the coolest role model a young person could have. Yes, he thought, it could get better, especially in the supply room with the 2 of them alone. And you're the hottest young person a role model could have, he said aloud. He leaned forward and dropped his voice. Here, wear a button. It was, of course, his duty to pin that button personally on her pert young breast. He wanted to see more of this volunteer, not to mention her pert young breasts, as soon as possible. This is the novelization drift. This is the author, like, sitting home alone, who just ends up talking, like, about tits all the time. That's happened in so many books. I know, like, it's in the film.
Yeah.
But just even, like, that repetition of pert young breast in here, he just, like, really hammers it home. And just a page later, he goes upstairs to discover that Catwoman is waiting for him.
There, curled up on the mattress with the pretty little kitty in her lap, was the woman of the Penguin's dreams, the Catwoman. He chomped down hard on his cigarette holder. Be still, he told his heart, not to mention other parts of his anatomy. He'd show this beauty that fur and feathers could mix and mate.
And then the Penguin stepped forward to greet her. Just the pussy I've been looking for. It's like an episode of Are You Being Served in here?
Anyone see my pussy?
Yeah, I reckon Mrs. Slocum would be a great Batman villain. I'm looking for my pussy,
well, she's
Batman.
got the same hair as the Joker.
Not far off. I can imagine Batman punching her because he mistook her for a clown.
Bitch. Here's your pussy.
And by just a film note, this is the scene where Michelle Pfeiffer puts the live canary in her mouth. I think that's the best scene in the entire film. She actually really did it. And as the villain's plot, Christmas is nearly here, and Batman has got to be the most depressing character ever.
Bruce saw a boy walking between his mother and father as all three headed for the restored window of the toy store. The boy seemed so happy, and why shouldn't he be? He had his parents, they all had each other at Christmas time. Bruce had to turn away. His mother screamed. His father tried to stop them. He heard the gunshots. Bruce opened his eyes. Christmas. He could not think of a more depressing time of the year. Yeah, I'm sure after his parents got shot, that time, he was like, this is the worst Christmas ever.
There's nothing relatable about the Batman character. Nothing likeable. He's barely in the film, and he's just been a sad sack.
Yeah.
He's on Santa's knee going, bitch. Now, a lot of boring shoehorn plot stuff as we race towards the climax. Bruce and Selina have a date, unaware of each other's secrets.
How can they be unaware?
You don't those masks. Penguin knocks out the Ice Princess, makes it look like Batman did it.
Bastard.
Batman goes back to the streets for more chaos, and as Batman joins the fight, they secretly sabotage his ride.
The poodle lady led the way, her mangy dog at her side, and following her were all their circus chums, but none of them came to the party empty-handed, for each of them carried a toolbox, and the name of the party was the Batmobile.
Isn't that the dumbest sentence in the world? That's not a name of a party. What's the Batmobile? Batman is framed for the Ice Princess's murder.
It's probably because he was in the corner going, bitch.
Yeah, but Batman, he's really down on women at the moment. The Ice Princess fell screaming. No one in the crowd made a sound as she plummeted towards the platform. She hit with a sickening crunch, and the Penguin heard new sounds coming from the Christmas tree. The button that controlled the lighting of the tree was on the platform. Her body must have hit it at the end of her fall. So she had been able to do a job after all. Too bad it was the last job she would ever do. And when her dying body hit the button, did it simply light the tree? Oh no, that would have been much too simple. Instead of lights, the Penguin had filled the tree with cages full of bats, all released at the press of that button. Very suggestive, if the Penguin did say so himself. The crowd screamed and panicked as the bats swooped among them. Imagine setting that up, approving that with the city.
Yeah.
To go in with your ladders and all your clown people and your cages of bats and hiding them in the trees.
And his little flipper hands trying to get all the bats into the baubles or whatever it is. Come on, come here, you little bat.
Putting baubles on with opposable thumbs. And I don't even know about this scene. It just keeps going.
I ought to have spayed you, he shouted. You sent out all the signals. Catwoman paused to think about that. Did I? She asked, and silently answered, maybe she did. Only because my mom trained me to with a man. Oh yeah, she remembered her mom's warnings. Heaven forfend? Selina should be an old maid. Any man, she added. All men. This cat outfit had brought it out even more. Why couldn't she look at what she was doing? Corn dog, she muttered, hitting herself on the side of the head for good measure. Oh, I thought she'd left the corn dog behind.
Now she's a cat. No. And then Penguin thinks he's killed Catwoman, but his supporters clustered around him cheering. So why couldn't he shake his gloom? Maybe it had something to do with killing not one babe, but two. It seemed like such a waste of good woman flesh. Especially before he and those babes could become more personally acquainted. It's like Bill and Ted. He pulled a handful of campaign buttons out of one of his many pockets and started to pin them on the chests of his supporters, his female supporters, his well-endowed female supporters. Hey, he started to feel better already. What was a dead babe or two when there were all these other babes to go around?
So hold on, is there dead women around plus cheering crowds? Or no, we skipped?
He thinks that he's killed Catwoman, and he's like, oh, it's okay, because there's all these boobies around me from all my campaign supporters. Just because of that one
the dead
scene
people aren't there.
Where he,
Yeah, okay.
He continues to frame Batman. He takes over the Batmobile, tries to mow down innocent people before Batman figures it out and escapes. This is how the Penguin sums up his day.
Came this close to a perfect evening, he cried in anguish. He pounded the controls, iced the princess, blew away Batman, almost got married, killed the bitch. He held up 2 gloved fingers, this close.
All 3 main characters have now referred to Catwoman as a bitch, including Catwoman herself. But Penguin couldn't think about women. Now that was truly misery. No, all he could think of was Batman, a living, breathing, totally intact Batman, a well-endowed, pert, sexy Batman.
Who's probably in the corner thinking about his parents.
Damn sexy Batman. Penguin makes a speech. This is great. Batman gets him back by jamming the frequency and playing a CD of the bad things Penguin said about the citizens in private. And Batman scratches the CD like a DJ, which is impossible to do.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
You can. Well, you can't scratch it, but you can. They've got a special thing for that, but not in the 90s.
Yeah.
What could Bruce do now but raise the stakes? He punched a series of buttons and placed his palm on the CD, letting the computer single out that special phrase. Here it was. This stinking city, and again, this stinking city, stinking cities, stinking city, just like a DJ at one of those downtown clubs. Penguin, how do you like that rap? Stink, stink. Hey, it had a beat. Who said Batman wasn't up to date? Hey, Batman.
This Craig Shaw Gardner sounds pretty up to date to me. Yeah, how'd you like that rap, babes?
Yeah, banging.
Craig Shaw Gardner is in the house. For all
Put
you
away
fine
your tapes.
looking
I've
babes.
got a CD.
I got my raps. So Penguin, now shunned, goes back to his penguin-filled ice cave in the zoo and plots to steal all the firstborn sons of Gotham. Selena and Bruce go to a masquerade ball. Neither wear masks because, that's what we're talking about. And she has smuggled in a gun in order to kill Max Schreck.
Bruce shook his head ruefully. Hey, look, I'm sure you have plenty of reasons to hate your boss, but he threw his hands in the air as if he didn't know the answer either. Jesus, Selena, you're not the judge or jury. I mean, just who do you think you are?
Hey, Bruce, you want to repeat your self-righteous speech, that strongman's family?
Yeah, and the man on fire.
They figure out each other's secret identities, but then the Penguin interrupts on his duck again, and he wants to steal Max's son, Chip.
Well, all that was sewerage under the bridge, because with dear Chip and hundreds of other Chips from all over town, the Penguin was getting back into murder in a big way.
Sounds like he's getting into chips in a big way.
Big chip on his shoulder.
And his plan here is really quite dark. And look over there in that plush nursery. The infant boy sleeps soundly in his expensive crib, custom built no doubt, with the lumber from some endangered tree. But one of our acrobats vaults through the window, then scoops up the child in one fluid motion. The child sleeps on as the acrobat vaults back out. An alarm wails, did you say? Perhaps so, but it is too late, far too late for all of Gotham City. And so it goes, house after house after house, firstborn son after firstborn son, and soon the big kaboom, all of Gotham's firstborn brats sunken and strangled.
Oh.
Baby killing.
So again, this is very biblical. I think we're underestimating the work of Mr. Gardner. Like, there's a lot of biblical references in here. This is, and Christmas time.
Well, speaking
setting
of
is not, just coincidental.
Cribs. I was talking to Violet, actually, who has been on this show, and we were talking about how, she's saying, is Bethlehem a thing? You don't hear people go, I'm going on holidays to Bethlehem.
Well, I think people go on pilgrimages do.
But, it'd be funny to be like, I'm going away for Christmas. And they'd be like, away where? Oh, away in a manger. Because there's no crib for a bed. We're very bored sometimes. Max has given himself up instead of his son. He's all, take me, not my son. And then in the Penguin lair, we're so close now.
The Penguin had put him in a cage, but that wasn't bad enough. The cage was hung immediately above a pond full of brown and acrid goo. Max half expected to choke to death on the fumes, and it was cold down here too. He stopped the music as he saw the organ grinder's monkey scamper down the stairs towards him, a smelly, noisy creature, the monkey, not at all as regal as the Emperor Penguin. But why was the monkey here without the organ grinder? So where are the kids? He demanded of the beast. Don't tell me they stopped at McDonald's.
Yes, a plug for the sponsor.
Yeah, that's where McDonald's would want the plug too. In the baby killing section.
Well, he's hung over a pile of shit. But it didn't actually make it into the film.
Oh, didn't it? Okay.
Batman foils the plan, mostly off screen, and so the Penguin decides to strap missiles to actual penguins and blow everyone up. He also says what has to be the most horribly written line in the film. He laughed grandly. Why be biased? Male and female, hell, the sexes are equal with their erogenous zones blown sky high. He is going to blow off the dicks of the children of Gotham.
Yep.
It's going to be raining men. Hallelujah.
That's, very strange. He gets paid for this, does he, to write this?
Well, that is in the film.
That's in the film?
Yeah.
Shit.
Danny DeVito delivers that line. Yes.
Oh, man. That must have been a highlight in DeVito's career.
But another frequency jamming happens, and that plan fails too. We've had doctors, fish, now a plane instead of a plan. It all culminates in a fight in the lair between the Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman. Max gets electrocuted and killed. Catwoman is shot to pieces, and the Penguin bites it in the ass. You were talking before about Craig Shaw Gardner maybe editorialising a bit about how unfeasible some of this stuff was.
Oh, yes.
So what you think of this?
Batman put down the deadly umbrella. He stopped and stared as 4 penguins, larger than their fellows, emperor penguins, he would have guessed, moved forward from the shadows. They surrounded the fallen Birdman and with a single-mindedness of purpose reached down with their beaks and grabbed hold of the Penguin. All 4 lifted their heads, raising the Penguin like pallbearers at his funeral, then turned and bore him away back into darkness. Batman couldn't tell anyone about this. They would never believe him. He wasn't sure if he believed it himself. I find it touching.
Imagine that awkward Christmas dinner. They're sitting there, he's eating with Alfred in silence, and then he's like, Alfred, the other night that...
it was that
something
time.
troubling you, Master Bruce? No, it's just... do you know much about penguins? Like, do you think it would be possible for penguins to... Master Bruce? No, never mind. Don't worry about it. It just...
Look, I saw recently on Facebook, I think... penguins, emperor penguins too, grieve.
Oh.
They showed a mama penguin and a papa penguin pretty much crying over their dead baby penguin, and the papa penguin was like comforting her. So I think this could possibly happen.
You've got a point there. I think, like, especially internet commentators like to jump on things, go, oh, that'll never happen. But, you know, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. And people... Yeah. What if they'd had Morgan Freeman just narrate a bit over this, explaining, like...
yes,
you know, the penguin like behaviour.
That's right. Sometimes penguins know the ball-bearing...
penguins. Yeah.
Oh, man, that film was really sad.
Much of the Penguins?
Yeah. Oh, there was actually a bit in it that I cried.
Oh.
I know.
I've never seen it.
Anyway.
This will cheer you up. This is the ending. We take turns. Alfred frowned as revellers blocked the way ahead. He turned down an alley, attempting to take a shortcut from the crowds.
Well, Alfred continued, come what may, Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne.
Right, Bruce replied, trying somehow to return the butler's good wishes. Sure, and peace on earth, goodwill towards men.
What was that?
He thought he heard a loud meow.
He turned to look back out the window, just in time to see a shadow dart from the street into the alley. He jumped from the still-moving car and disappeared into the alley. He found the jet-black feline hiding amidst the cans. Why, Miss Kitty, he thought, what are you doing out so late? He tucked the cat in his arms and returned to Alfred and the rolls.
Bruce shivered as he closed the car door behind him. Goodwill towards men, he had said. And women, he added.
Alfred drove on in silence.
It is late on Christmas Eve, or maybe very early Christmas morning.
High above the buildings, projected against the clouds, the signal flashes a bright yellow oval filled with the dark shape of a bat.
It fills all the night sky, and then it is gone.
Welcome to Gotham City.
Yes, so much goodwill towards women displayed in this book. Mm-hmm. Very apt. So there we go. That was Batman Returns. You returned for a little bit of it.
Yeah, for a tiny amount.
So I got to ask you, as I always do, was the book better?
Oh, look, the film was much better.
Even though I'm like giving this story a lot of crap, I still really love the film because of the visuals. Like, it's so... There's some shots in there which are so iconic, some great performances. I can infinitely watch it. So, and I'll never look at this book again.
And reading it makes you see how ridiculous it is. Whereas when you're watching it, you don't really come away thinking, gee, Batman's a little
baby.
Dick.
Yeah.
Babe.
I think that's one of those great things about doing this podcast is you just take the stories for, you know, like you're not mesmerized by special effects or music or performances or whatever. You just have to read it on the page and go, okay, well, that's what happened, right? He came out on a duck and threatened to blow off everyone's willies.
Yeah.
A couple of little quick Amazon reviews. Here's some things I liked. This is a very good book, a lot better than the first one. I think Gardner did an excellent job on this book. Batman Returns rule. If you like this book, check out all of the Batman books. So, this is a great springboard to The Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns, any of those. Very similar tone. Mm-hmm. Actually, I saw Book Depository did this thing for... like a competition where they gave out all these Batman books, all the classic Batman stories, including things like Killing Joke, where, Barbara Gordon, the Joker, shoots her in the spine and undresses her and takes photos of her and then captures her father and undresses him and makes him look at photos of his naked, bleeding, crippled daughter in a funhouse. Right. We've got it at the lake.
I was going to say, have we got this? We've got it.
But you have all these like parents and stuff
buying it for their kids,
going, "Oh, my grandson would love to win these."
Oh my god!
My son, and I put in the comments like, "You do realize what these books are?"
Yeah.
And here's one more. This book is much better than the movie itself, in my opinion. It's much more serious and sophisticated in a graphic novel format, and the gothic mood is more captured in this way, and it also demonstrates quite elegant drawings of the beautiful, sexy Catwoman in her shiny, sewn-together costume and the virile Batman in his handsome bat get-up with its long, sweeping cape. Their lithesome stunts and fierce struggles on the moonlit rooftops are artfully depicted in each panel as well. As for the Penguin himself, he provides a very colourful circus-like flavour to the story with his kooky penguins and his gaudily costumed associates. In addition, there are so many grisly deaths and a much more tragic ending as well. In all, this film adaptation is quite a lovely little comic album to keep anywhere on your most favourite bookshelf.
Do you think Craig Shaw Gardner wrote that one?
I think this is someone who is smart enough to use sentences like lithesome stunts and fierce struggles, but doesn't realise that they're putting a review for the comic adaptation on the novelization page. But I still enjoyed, which happens a lot. You also get people reviewing the movie on the book page quite frequently. My favourite is still the person whose house burnt down the day before and they had to get a replacement copy of their book. It was one of the first things they were looking for in
and
ruins.
It was one of the
ruins of their house. Yeah.
Wow.
But virile Batman in his handsome bat get up. Also something that I thought was really quite sweet. Yep. There we go. That was Batman Returns. Thank you so much for joining me on this, Leah, and kicking off our Book Was Better Christmas programming. All December is going to be Christmas themed.
Thank you very much.
It was always...
Sorry, I forgot it was meant to be Christmas. But,
Merry Christmas.
Got there in the end.
Yeah.
It's very hot for Christmas.
It is.
Hot in Australia.
Hot in Australia, mate. Hot bloody, hotter than a inside of a kangaroo's pouch, mate. So please rate and review on iTunes. Listen to the other podcasts, which are Scarjo a Go-Go and FP Cast, which is a general pop culture cast. Very easy to find them all now. Just go to the newly designed fruitlesspursuits.com and they're all up the top. And join the discussion on our Facebook discussion page, which is mostly Americans posting pictures of gross food.
Yeah, there was the mug of meat.
A mug made out of bacon filled with cheese.
And, it's filled with cheese. I thought it was like Kowalski's meat mug.
And the turducken.
Oh, I couldn't even look at that. I just
wrapped in. Yeah, it was a chicken in a duck in a turkey, then wrapped in bacon.
Yeah, it looked like something out of Silence of the Lambs. I didn't even choose to look at it. I just quickly flipped.
So they're the sorts of fun things. Very occasionally, people will discuss the podcast themselves, feedback on it. But otherwise, if you want to see some pictures of bacon and cakes, often together, then that's the place to go. All right, well, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week with another Christmas-themed show. Do you want to take us out?
See you on the...
Close enough.